This is Immortal Technique, Harlem, New York, all over the world, and this is the Martyr. Shout to the homies, Carnegie, OG, Willie Randolph Hearst, Baruch, Rockefeller, the real Rockefeller, my main bitch, Leona.
Hello, my name is Nikki Grafitti, and you're tuned in to www.strawberryblunt.com. Today we are interviewing a man who has been referred to as the most dangerous man in hip-hop. After being born in a military hospital in Peru and coming to America at the age of 2 years old, leading a wild life of street violence that led to him being incarcerated. Upon exiting his incarceration, he began a series of battle raps that would eventually lead him to be worldwide renowned as one of the truest and best MCs in the game. Independently, he has sold over 250,000 albums, and he is known as a revolutionary and also a humanitarian and activist. His new project, The Martyr, dropped Thursday, October 27th, and in the blink of an eye, on October 28th, he will be kicking off his tours for all his beloved fans, October 28th in Syracuse. Without any further ado, StrawberryBlunt.com presents to you the one, the only, Immortal Technique.
Hello, how you doing?
Look a little more excited.
I'm enthralled. I've been awake for 48 hours. So, I mean, between the last round of mixdowns for the Martyr and between, reviewing movies now for MTV. This is my new role now. I'm a movie critic. I don't know why, how, or what I got involved myself into, but I'm exhausted. But I'm still happy to be here, and I'm happy to answer all your questions.
All right, so let's get to going. So, do you see The Martyr as like the final chapter of Revs 1, 2, and 3, or is it like a brand new book that you're starting? Like, what can we expect to see off this project?
The Martyr is a collection of previously unreleased and of a few new track selections from myself. And really, it's kind of a bridge between Revolutionary Volume 2, The Third World, and The Middle Passage, which is the next album to come out.
When is that coming out?
We're looking at early 2012, and then hopefully, Revolutionary Volume 3 afterwards. But realistically speaking, it's gotten so crazy right now with all the new material that I have out now that I could probably tour on the Martyr for like another 2 or 3 years. And
so, how many tracks on the Martyr?
16.
16. And what kind of collaborations are we looking at?
Well, I have Dead Prez, Brother Ali, Killer Mike, Chuck D, Joel Ortiz, Styles P, Vinny Paz, production from Jay Dilla, Green Lantern, Southpaw. I mean,
how did you get your hands on a Jay Dilla beat?
I was actually, it's a funny story, and I have a video interview we're going to release probably in early November, where I actually went to Detroit and conversed with his mother about things, because I had seen a lot of people take advantage of that situation and make up ridiculous excuses saying, oh, Dilla gave me this before. You didn't know him, shut up, I don't even pretend like I was friends with him like that. I may have come across him, but we never had an understanding about anything. So there was a mixtape project being done, and someone handed me and said, we got these beats, would you like to participate in this? And I said, sure. But at that particular time, I was working on 2 other projects, so it was really difficult for me to just, settle down and focus on that one thing. But eventually, I said, man, this is something I would really like to do, and the only person who I can get to really give me the okay would be Dilla's mom. So I made the proper arrangements through House Shoes, and I actually went out to Detroit to give her proper tribute, as we in the streets say it, and to show her love, because that's how real niggas do things.
Same way Daddy asked your mommy's daddy for her hand.
Like, that's the
chivalry.
way. Maybe we call it chivalry. I just call it being a fucking man. And I think that it's really sad that in this day and age, that's something that people are like amazed, like, wow, like, no, that's something you should be doing. Look, I'm not saying that the foundation doesn't deserve its funding, because they're obviously doing something positive to to keep Dilla's legacy where it is. But I think that when we talk about the person that raised him and the person who obviously, must feel like there are and have been several situations where people took advantage of how trusting and kind her son was to then exploit that after his passing and say, oh man, I got this Dilla. I told her straight up, listen, I'm going to spit this for you. Like, I'm going to rhyme it because out of respect for your son and for not having your permission, I never recorded it. And I didn't, which was why Toast of the Dead was one of the last things to be recorded. I was like, I'm not going to record this until I actually speak to Mama Yancey. So I went out to Detroit, I met with her, and then afterwards I came back here and finally laid it down. And then Green Lantern took forever to put the cuts on, but that's just him.
That's incredible. That's a nice story. So everyone's going crazy over Toast to the Dead. And in it, you talk about the immortality of yourself through music and immortality of other fallen soldiers through music. And that seems to be a really big theme, and especially because your name is Immortal Technique. So when did you realize that that's who you wanted to be known as?
I could always rhyme from the time I was about 9 years old, but I never really took it seriously until I got out on parole. When I was incarcerated, I battled other people. I wrote rhymes while, I was just in my cell, or when they threw me in the hole a couple of times and I didn't have nothing else to do but stare at a fucking wall in my boxers. Like, okay, cool. And the Native American trustee basically gave me a sheet of paper and a pencil, like, here, don't go crazy, write down what you think. But when I saw the business evolve, I realized that there was potential for me to be able to express what I wanted to and also be able to make good money if I was smart and kept myself independent and I wasn't tied to a major label that really is run by people in some instances who don't understand anything about the culture. They understand a lot about numbers and about marketing, which is essentially lying to people to get them to buy something they don't need. From that, I think I just developed into my own brand of what I wanted to do, and hence Immortal Technique arose. And album after album after album, I always stayed true to my roots. I was offered the opportunity to sell out plenty of times, and I never just took that because it wasn't about money to me. You can't buy that type of respect. You can't buy your integrity from people. You can pay your way around the street. That doesn't mean niggas respect you.
So you stay independent, but you have a distribution deal?
Yes.
Okay. And how does that work?
Well, distribution companies usually take between 10 and 20% of their distribution fee to put your record in the stores or to have it, digitally available around the world.
So
but I think it changes depending on the way your deal is structured. Some people ask for large amounts of money up front, and then that has to be factored into the equation. I would rather go for percentage points on the back end rather than upfront money because I'm not desperate and I'm not a poor vagabond. I mean, I'm not denigrating people who are stuck in a financial crisis, but I was smart enough to have been able to see it come and take my money out and say, all right, this is not worth, or put it into something more stable, municipal bonds, and not, toy around with the stock market when I see so many people, losing everything that they have. So,
before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask you about the revolution, of
Immortal
Technique.
We just won a Spotlight Award at the Harlem Film Festival.
Where can we see it? I mean, the only way, I looked it up and there was only 2 viewings, I think. The last one was on September 11th and it disappeared, vanished. What's the deal?
We're going to have a gigantic screening probably in December in LA. And then we're thinking about having it combined with like hours and hours of never before seen extra scenes and DVD extras, and then putting out a DVD at some point early next year, which I think is the primary focus for me and the director.
But it will be available to the public eventually.
I really do want it to be available. I really listen. If I want something to be available and it's a product of mine, it will be available.
Wonderful. I mean, that sounds very promising to your fans because...
No, it does. And I appreciate everybody who was involved in the project, everybody from Cornel West to Ice-T to Woody Harrelson, Chuck D, KRS-One, Q Unique, Ill Bill, Akir, Southpaw, DJ, G.I. Joe, Poison Pen. I mean, just the sheer amount of people that you can go through in my life. I'm sorry if I left anybody out. I definitely didn't mean to, but the sheer amount of people in my life that have been a part of this struggle and that have seen me grow.
What do we expect to see in that documentary?
Well, it is the R in parentheses evolution of Immortal Technique. It's also a DVD that revolves around artistic freedom, the sacrifices that people make in order to have what they have. The best way, I always tell people to define sacrifice or define success is not by what you have, but rather by what you had to sacrifice to get where you are.
We out here. It's live. Live today, baby. It's live today.